All right, it's another Chew Quieter, and this time we have a friend of ours, Will Periman, with us. And Armando is back from his lovely vacation work trip. What do you want to call that? Was it a work trip? Was it vacation?
It's kind of everything. It was the best of all the worlds.
What do you call it?
I
Will?
call it work. It was work. It's not. I wouldn't call it a vacation by any means. Because
Talk about where did you guys go?
the Pacific Northwest. We started south of Yakima on a 6-day, 500-mile trip through the Pacific Northwest on the east side of the Cascadias. Yeah,
That sounds like an
It
awesome
is.
trip.
It was incredible.
So who all went? I know Chambliss went. You two went. Who else?
Michael from Infinite Offroad. Tanner from Rockslide.
Tanner
Yeah.
and Josh,
who's one of our photographers. And then, am I missing anybody?
No, there's us.
Mr. Jose.
Yeah, Jose.
Jose
was
there.
Jose was our media guy, and then Jenna and Chambliss's wife,
Yeah.
Jess,
Nice.
showed up.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
That was. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. Those pictures were fucking sick. I was jealous the entire time you're there. That's my kind of trip that I like to go on, is the scenic stuff like that. So
yeah, it was great. There was no rock crawling, no crazy wheeling, but we did a ton of miles on the dirt, a bunch of fire roads. We definitely hit some roads that are a little tight.
Tight tree roads,
So,
yeah.
so some tight tree roads. So someone has to be buffing out a truck again this weekend.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I have scratches up and down both sides. So Buffer comes out this weekend in 114-degree weather.
Full sizes are just hard to wheel in general, even if it's just a dirt road and on a fire trail or something. They're just they're awkward.
It wasn't awkward.
It's just tight. Like a lot of the live limbs were, and they're live. They weren't dead, so it's not like it's Arizona pinstriping, but it's still just the brush was tight in a few areas.
Was it anything like Fordyce? That type of tight, or
yeah, like through those trees that we went through. Yes, yeah, but with more like bushes and limbs. So like you're that tight. Okay. Like how Fordyce didn't have like tons of brush. It was mainly just trees super tight, from what I recall. But this was like full on like foliage that you're driving through.
And yeah, it was live. It was more green, but there was some dead sticks through there that I have a couple of scratches on the side that are going to take a little more cutting than just buffing.
And what's nuts though is like Chambliss's Raptor and my Bronco Raptor are pretty much the same width as the truck, the 3500. Yeah,
really.
But wheel width. I'm wider.
Yeah.
I'm wider. I have a wider
body wise. Yeah.
Yeah, body wise, I'm way wider than everybody else.
Okay,
but track width, but even track width, I'm wider because I have those. I put those 3.5-inch backspace wheels on, so I'm sticking out way beyond fender that I should be.
What's your setup, Will?
Bronco Raptor with 38-inch tires now.
How wide?
Same width as like a Super Duty or regular Raptor. It's 9 inches wider than a regular Bronco. So like 9 inches wider than the JL.
Wow, I didn't think they were that wide. That's crazy.
That's why they have those giant
fenders,
plastic boat fenders on there.
Oh,
the kiddie pole fenders.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to do what you got to do, right? They're trying to save their consumer a little bit of money.
I
But I guess that's where you come in, right, Will? Because you're gonna come out with some.
Yeah,
stuff,
I will.
hopefully.
I'm not doing fenders for the Bronco, but I don't know. It's hard to do when they're lifted. They don't look as bad, but like stock off the showroom, it's like, wow, that's a huge fender.
It just looks funny, and then you put the wheels on, or wheels and tires.
Yeah,
and
when you do the wheels, tires, and
bit.
lift and go bigger, it's like, oh, that kind of looks okay. It grows on you for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's growing on me is the Bronco. I didn't like it at first, but it's definitely.
So this trip, the Bronco Raptor grew on me big time. Like after this week, I was like, I actually like for what we were doing there, I really, really like it. And you have to remember, like, the people that are hardcore rock crawling is like 1%, right? So like the 99%, and it's like for 99%, this Bronco's really, really nice. I mean, with the 1-inch lift, you can fit 39s on the Bronco Raptor.
So I think that's why I went with the Tacoma after I sold my Jeep. A lot of people actually don't know this. After I sold my Jeep, I bought a Tacoma, and the reason is I was not about to spend another $60,000 on a vehicle that I was going to just cut up, beat up, and to be honest with you, at my age, my body just can't handle the rigors of rock crawling anymore. I mean, they can, but not in the volume that I used to have. So I said to myself, hey, I need a truck for stuff, home projects. So I need a truck for sure. And then
did you say homo projects?
Did I say homo? Oh shit. No homo projects. And then after this last trip that I went on that I filmed, it was a lot of overlanding. So I kind of fell in love with overlanding, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a lot of comforts. It's I mean, the food you can eat, camping food you can eat is kind of amazing because people get really creative. Your sleeping situation can be anywhere from roughing it to comfortable. The only roughing it that you're really doing is shitting and showering.
Which sometimes isn't even that bad with certain products.
Yeah. But yeah, the Tacoma is very comfortable. I like it a lot.
I love Tacoma platform. It's good. But yeah.
The new one's nice. It's just not the money I want to spend right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, mine's only 2020, so
still a good base.
I went well, I also wanted the SR. After having electrical issues with the JK and then seeing what electrical issues people have with the JL and the Gladiator and even the Bronco, I wanted something that was modern but didn't have all the gadgets and gizmos and the electronics that were gonna eventually fail or cause problems.
Yeah. Well, mine's the rack. My Bronco's on stands right now, and the full front steering rack is out.
What are you doing?
One of the needle bearings that went out, and so I'm replacing that and then changing some bushings. But
is that a result of that tree?
No, I mean that didn't help. But no, it was that needle bearing blew out before that tree, and the rack, Quinn's rack from 74 Weld, without that rack, that thing would have been dead that day. But with that rack, it lived. I made it home safe. It was good. The issues I'm dealing with now are stupid. The needle bearing that's going in it is chintzy, and it you can see where the needles pushed out of the casing. Quinn's making a new bronze bushing that goes in there that I'll probably replace later on, but right now I'm just doing that. What sucks about all the computer stuff is there's gears on this computer board that goes in the pinion of the rack. And when you take it apart, you're supposed to keep it all together so those little gears don't turn, because then it reads off center and the rack supposedly, we'll find out when I go back, but when I was pulling it out, I was on the phone with Jenna's brother. I was paying attention, but like this job is really for 2 people, not 1. I was pulling the rack out. I slipped. My hand kind of slipped. The pinion rocked one way. The computer went the other way, and the gears turned. And I'm like, oh, shit. So it's just that computer stuff. All the new stuff has too many computers. Yeah. And it's frustrating.
And if you notice, every new vehicle also has 2 batteries now to run all those computers. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have if you're not depending on something in the moment, because in the moment, if something just goes wrong, you're fucked. I'd rather have that technology in my house. That way I'm not super dependent on it. If something breaks, I can fall back on an analog version of that if I need to. But in a vehicle, and if you're somewhere hundreds of miles away from home, it's just a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it sucks. Like it's like just when I hit that stump, it was hard just to find a place to realign the Bronco real fast. Like I went to
we were in one town and they had 3 alignment shops and no one wanted to touch it, so we had to drive. We would drive 30 minutes.
To another town,
to the next town, to the town to go have some guy get it on his rack, and that kind of it put us in town for the day, which I think I needed. I've been driving so much, I was just done with kind of driving for a couple days. So it was nice to not be on the road getting my ass handed to me on the dirt road and whatever. But no, the guys took real good care of the Jeep or the Bronco, and got it back up and running. And I think finished the rest of the week out. It was good.
Yeah, it was awesome because that was a fluke, total fluke accident where it happened.
What's your camping situation like, or your sleeping situation like?
So I have a CVT tent on the top, and then we use a Climate. It's like a hybrid mattress where it's got air and memory foam. So when we get to camp, we'll pop the tent up, fill up the air mattress with memory foam, and it's like sleeping at home. Yeah.
Nice. And it stays cool,
it stays cool.
And Armando, do you just have that inflatable thing, or did that work out this time?
No. So what I did this time, I took out the back seat completely in the Ram. So it's only 62 inches across, and I'm just a little bit taller than 62 inches. So I have to sleep diagonally. So for me to sleep in there the proper way, I have to go in and push the front seats forward and the back seat out, and then I put the mattress in there and go across. So what I did is I bought a 4-inch memory foam pad, and I put that down. And then I had a Climate, the V2, like the double mattress, and dropped that in there, and I slept on that. That was way more comfortable than it was last year. The air mattress was just hit or miss. And then last year we had because I had the brackets and the seats in the truck, I moved the mattress to slide it one day to get it in position, and just ripped the whole side of the mattress off and went okay. So
it's not sustainable.
Well, yeah. So there was one night I slept on just blankets, and I have the Ram has this flat deck across the back, so it was just like this piece of wood basically you're sleeping on with a couple blankets on there. Mm-hmm. So I woke up the next morning, I was like shitting with the whole day. But
what's the climate like at night when you're out there?
Pacific Northwest is nice. I think the coldest it maybe got was like 50s, right?
I don't even think it was that cold. I think it might have been mid 60s at night, because it was even one of the nights where it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I felt like I had to start it to get the AC going because it was a little warm.
Yeah, that one camp spot was hot.
Yeah,
we had hoodies on every night. It wasn't cold. Colorado was cold. When we did Colorado, that was. There are some nights
I woke up.
It was
25.
Yeah.
It was 25, 24 when I woke up in Colorado.
But you guys also went later in
we
the
tried.
season.
We didn't try, but we caught fall. Our goal was to catch fall, and we did it. It's just you know how you live there for so long. the temperature swings at that time are so great. Like it can be like 80 during the day, but then it can get down to like 20 at night, just depending on where you're at. And that the cold caught us a few nights out there.
It caught us every night out there.
Yeah. Yeah, almost.
There was one morning. It was 28.
Yeah, so, it warmed up.
It warmed up that day.
The cold camping is something that I can't do anymore. The coldest I think we had was around 10 degrees at night, overnight, and I slept with my shoes on, socks on, everything was on. We had a portable heater, and Ryan had to keep changing the bottle on that thing because we would go through maybe almost 3 bottles a night.
Oh, geez,
for the heater.
I think that was what Gerald had a problem with last year. He had that Mr. Propane, the propane buddy, and he had that igloo tent.
Yeah, that's what we had.
And then he would go through the propane bottle in the middle of the night, and he's like, I wasn't getting enough to change it, so I just froze my nuts off.
Well, Ryan was a super trooper on that one. He was the one changing the bottles and reigniting it because I think his ignition on it was broken, so we had to use a lighter.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was just one of those
things.
I don't think we weren't really prepared. At least I wasn't prepared for that type of cold. We were camping in Leadville, near a lake, and it was late September.
Yeah.
So that was my fault for one thing, and two, just not ever being prepared for the cold. I've lived there for 20 years and was never ever prepared for the cold seasons ever. I was just an idiot when it came to that. And for someone that hates the cold, you would think I would be prepared.
It's nuts in Colorado because September and October I feel like are wild cards. Like the week before we went, temperatures were like good, like it's normal. Fall had started to set in, but when we got there, it was hot when we started in Moab, but then the further we got, it got colder. But then the days it was like t-shirts, and then it had early snow last year, so we had to change route. We couldn't do imaging because it snowed early and it was just too deep. But it was good.
See, our route was exactly the opposite of yours. We started in the high country in Colorado and then fell back down to the deserts and finished at Lake Powell.
That'd be a sweet route, yeah.
So we went from the hot to the cold, from the cold to the hot.
Yeah.
And that's when the water levels there were super low, like crazy low. I don't forget the name of that huge rock that sticks out, but we were really close to it. That's how low the water level was. But it's back to almost normal now, they say.
Another 2 good winters and everything should be good, but we'll see what happens.
They still have snowpack in California?
We still have snowpack here. Mm-hmm. Like you look up in the mountains and they're still capped. So
wow.
I mean, we crossed snow in this Pacific. We saw snow.
Yeah. One of the peaks, really? and we didn't get super high elevation. I think the highest we got was like 5,800 feet.
Yeah, that last day we hit 8,000 when we went and did that stuff.
But we weren't ever at super high elevation like Colorado. Like we went to 13,000 plus in Colorado, going to the peaks, but we never really stayed anywhere above 5,000 for a long time this trip. And we came around a corner and I was like, there's freaking snow here. Like, this is really weird. It seems that there would be not snow because it's 95 degrees out here or 90 degrees out here. No, it might have been 80 up there. It was like 95 in Yakima during the day, but up there at Rainier in the park, it was, I believe, about 75, 80.
So we keep talking about this trip you guys have been on, but we haven't discussed the name of it, what it's about, or anything. So we'll take over on that subject.
So what it is it's the Elevate experience, and it's basically a 5 to 6 day overland trip where we shoot media and capture media and plan a whole trip out of it. So Like this year, we started south of Yakima, is basically 20 miles from the border of Canada at Lake Diablo. Last year, we did Colorado, where we went from Moab to Glenwood Springs for Mitchell Off-Road. And we just do a trip out of it, shoot a bunch of media for companies, and then the byproduct is the film and release at the end of it. There's a lot of media you don't see that we hand over to the companies that they use.
Oh, okay. Do you have a projected date right now for the release of this one?
September, probably.
Okay. And the last one just came out
2 months ago.
All right. Talk about that one a little bit. The production side of it. Or if you remember, I know.
Yeah, so the production side of it. One of the main, so there's a trip we were on, and one of the things that did it for me for rock crawling was being on a trail for 14 hours. And it's like, why are we doing this? Like, what was the point of that? Like, I think you know what trip I'm talking about, but it's like, what was the point of this today? Like, nothing ended well for the majority of people on that trail. And it ruined the trip for a few people were like, man, this just, it sucked. So it's like, why? So like, not that had anything to do with this, but it's just like in the back of my mind, like, why am I sitting on a trail for 13 hours? In 13 hours, I can see amazing country. And yeah, there's some light 4-wheel driving. It's not technical, but you can have more of an experience. Like I had a good experience that day, but that it was just like, we could do a lot more, and what's that?
I was going to say it's almost like you have a successful day, but you still defeat because it was so long and it didn't go as planned. Even everyone was safe though. Everyone got off the trail, but you still have that feeling of fuck.
Yeah, and like I don't regret anything. It was an amazing day, and I met amazing people. It was just that, like, it brings your mood down. You're like, shit, man, that was a really hard day. And it's like, if we had 13 hours and we could see, like, the whole Alpine loop without issues, like, let's do that. Like, yeah. So, and that was just something internal for me. That had nothing to do with anything else. It was just like, why? Like, do I really want to spend 13 hours on this crazy trail,
No, I've had that same thought process too, many times. I mean, there's been times where we were filming Kingdom Crawl and we'd be stuck on the trail. The first season, stuck with Chris Meehan on the trail all night. That happened twice, and then second season that happened also. It's just, it gets
old, rough.
It gets gets old.
It's rough, and the worst part is you're not prepared for any of this. At least, like, we're going out there and we're taking stuff. So there's food with you, there's water with you, there's you're packing tools, but you pack tools on a regular trail ride. But and then if we don't make it to our destination, we stop and we find another place, and we already have our beds there and we sleep.
Yeah, you're ready to go. You have a better it's the experience and the light, like it's a better experience, and you get to connect more, experience more, see more, and just really enjoy a trip,
Matt Loxley and I have an inside joke about wheeling, rock crawling specifically, and anytime something would happen, we just look at each other and say, "Stupid fucking hobby." This is a stupid fucking hobby. And we say that tongue in cheek. Obviously we love it. Obviously we've had fun doing it. We still have fun doing it. It's just in that moment, embracing the suck.
Yeah, it really does. Sucks. Like, and I still love to wheel. Like, I want to go back to Fordyce and wheel Fordyce, and there's lots of places I want to do some hard wheeling. It's just, That's not.
There's so many beautiful.
It has to be
Yeah.
There's so many beautiful places in the country that we can go. Like we went on trails and saw views of things that not very many people ever get to see. And Moab, you have some of the epic spots where you go out and you see those spots where most people can't see. But I feel even in Moab, the ones that you drive out, when we went at EJS, that one trail we went out with the Broncos. Well,
oh yeah,
that peak, like
yeah,
like out. We didn't take the pickle. We took the bypass, and we got this freaking scenic overlook, and we had a great freaking view. It was a great day, and we were backing at the diner by 1:00.
Yeah.
And we saw such a great view in a different area that I don't think I'd ever been back there, or I can't remember being back there and seeing that view. And it wasn't a hard trail at all. It was just wheeling. We had Will and Jenna the Bronco Raptor, and I was with G and JP's Red Bronco, and we just went and did what we need to do.
Yeah, and one of the main things about Elevated is to inspire people to get out of that, just go out and explore. There's more to see. Like, it's not just like, hey, go hit these few trails. It's like, go out, look for that road that probably people haven't taken to see that scenery that's there. You know.
Yeah, even a 2-3 day trail where you stop, you camp, and you go. And I think one of the things that even Jose filmed with me was the truck and my setup.
Yeah,
like everyone else has rooftop tents, and Josh has a whole freaking the back of Josh's Jeep opens up, and there's a freaking kitchen in there. And then Will's got all his hole in the back, and then Chambas kind of was on a tent this trip, but last time he had rooftop tent and all that. Michael had his trailer, and then all of his setup in there, and I'm just in my truck, like pack muling in there, and I have an ice chest and a $40 memory foam, and I'm out here exploring with these guys, and it's. Yeah, I could go buy a rooftop tent, but I'm gonna put it on once a year when I go do this, and then what am I gonna do with it? I'm not gonna be one of those guys that drives with it every day to go to the Walmart.
Yeah, and I think that's what my plan is going to be when I do take my truck out more. Is I'm just going to set up a hammock system. I sleep great in hammocks. I sleep better under the stars too. So I think that's going to be what I'm going to do. Eventually,
that's one of the things we wanted to show too. Is like you don't have to have the full setup. Like, because I think a lot of movies and videos on YouTube show like fully like these $200,000 rigs, you know, with all the accessories. It's like you don't necessarily need that. You can grab your tent, you can grab your truck, you can go see these beautiful places that your wife and kids will enjoy on this trip. Like, you know, sitting on Pritchett for 13 hours, your wife and kids freaking hate that. Like, they don't want to be there. Yeah. They want to go see stuff. So this is something you can do with your wife and kids. There's different ways to do it. You don't have to have a rooftop tent. You can have a regular tent. You can have a hammock. You can just get out and see what the world has to offer.
That's the great thing about off-roading is there's between the different genres of it. You have almost everything. If you, I mean, you can have a purposely built vehicle for everything, or you can have a purposely built rig for just one thing, and then have this other vehicle for this other thing. And that other thing doesn't require you to have $30,000 of fucking upgrades.
Yeah, and it's, you know, like your Tacoma, you can go do the trip we did, no problem.
Yeah, there was nothing treacherous on what we did. We could have taken a stock Tacoma, stock JK, stock JL, stock Bronco. We probably could have taken a stock Subaru.
Yeah.
Out there was nothing that was at all an issue for any of those vehicles.
I mean, even the Colorado trip, I think maybe not the last. I mean, probably the last day you could probably get through, but I'm pretty sure like a Subaru could have done the route we did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Even Colorado. The worst was that day, the last day in Colorado. But it was only bad for us that were super wet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could drive a Subaru down that trail and not have issues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
What
Schofield
what trail is
Pass.
that? Oh, okay.
Like, there's nothing.
and the nice there's nothing treacherous. There was like a little
No.
bit where it's like there's a cross and you go down a little wash area, but it's all downhill. You're not climbing anything, so you're not going to leave lockers or anything. You're just getting in the right position and roll down.
Yeah.
So my problem was I'm sitting there with wheels off the ground, wheels off the side of the road, and
See, if rock crawling offered more of rock crawling plus scenery, I think there would be far more people that would be doing it. But because a lot of areas where the rock crawling is, it's in valleys, it's in gulches, it's in, tight spots, it's in um, areas that just don't have that scenery. It just doesn't have that same appeal as something that has that scenery, because the main reason why we go out and do these things is to get
Yeah,
out and see and view different things that are not inner city.
yep.
So if there was more trails, and I say that, knowing that we can't make trails like that, but if there was more trails like that, I think there would be more people. I think you would see a vehicle purposely built that is kind of like a hybrid 30s on 37s, maybe a Ford 9 or something like that, and then be equipped with
yeah,
camping equipment. And it crosses over. You're not having a rooftop tent that's going to make you top heavy, because you know damn well that if you're climbing on rocks and you're just a little bit pitched,
yeah.
guess
You're
what?
going over. Yeah,
Yeah. It's just too bad that we don't have something like that. And don't get me wrong, there are trails like that, but they're just
yeah.
not enough.
It's hot. Yeah, and depending where you live, and it's it's fun. It's all fun. It's just there's different types of funs, and then it's I want to experience some of this stuff with my wife and kids, and it's like I'm not gonna 100% get that going hardcore wheeling all the time.
Yeah. I mean, Brian Williams and Jill Williams, they've gone from rock crawlers to
Yeah, yeah,
overlanders too. CMM off road. And when I talked to Brian and Jill about that, they're not shy to say it's because of age.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not shy to say it either. They're just a comfort level about overlanding that you cannot deny.
Correct. Also, the market's kind of swinging that way a bit too, because you go to some of these shows like EJS has not recovered since COVID, and this year is pretty pitiful, like attendance wise, company wise at Easter Jeep Safari. It's one of the worst, one of the worst years I've seen for vendor wise. Like a lot of the parking lot outside was empty. Like there's not many people there. And like Off-Road Expo was dead. But you go to like Overland Expo West and Overland Expo Pacific Northwest, they're packed with people, tons of vendors, tons of people. It's kind of nuts to see. It's like, okay, there's a shift happening,
There might be two shifts happening. One is overlanding, and then one is the extreme rock crawling. That market is growing a little bit more. Also, I've noticed. Speaking of manufacturers, talk about
Savvy,
your new company.
Yeah. So Savvy, we are bringing it back. Gerald retired, wasn't really doing much with it. Jake Glasser and I are heading it up and bringing it back. We're partners, and we're bringing back a lot of aluminum armor. We are bringing back the TJLJ stuff, but it's down the road. We're starting with the newer and then working our way back.
That makes sense.
But yeah, we've got that going on. We'll be making stuff for we already have our bumpers for the JL and JK out. I have a Gladiator bumper coming out in the next 2 months. We've got sliders for the JL, JK coming out, and the Gladiator coming out. We'll have Bronco armor coming out, which we should have by hopefully October for Pomona. And then we might, after the Bronco stuff's done, we might do some Tacoma stuff, or I don't know. Right now, my list is JL, JK, Gladiator, Bronco, LJ, TJ, and then keep going.
Figure out the rest.
Yeah, figure.
So how did it materialize? Because everyone knows you were at Artec, and both of you were at Artec, and then both of you left. So how did it materialize from you being at Artec to now co-owning?
I had heard that there's an opportunity to bring Savvy back, and when I was told about it, I was like, yes. How do I say this? When I heard about the opportunity, I jumped at it. I was like, yes, I want to be a part of it.
What made you want to be part of it?
I was unhappy at where I was currently at. I'll leave it at that. And then it's Savvy. Like, Gerald created a legacy, and it's like, I want to be a part. I want to bring that brand back. I loved what Gerald did. I loved a lot of his reasoning for behind some of his products, and I was like, yes, I want to bring. It's a legacy brand, you know. It's like I want to bring that back and have it continue on.
Mm-hmm. What part does Gerald still have?
He's still a partner, but he's mainly retired. He still has some ownership in it, and he's there to run ideas past. If we need anything, he's there. Most of the time, he's
a swag guy.
Yeah, he gets us apparel when we need apparel. But yeah, he's mainly retired. If we need something, he's there.
And everything is still manufactured in California?
It's manufactured 3 different places across the U.S. And we have...
That's the important part.
Everything's designed and made in the U.S. We don't necessarily make it in-house, but it is 100% made in the U.S. And then, so we have the companies that manufacture it for us, and then it goes to a fulfillment center, and the fulfillment center ships it out to the customers. Yeah.
Nice. And then you have Armando over here helping you out with some
the marketing and back-end stuff, and the stuff that makes my eyes go awesome. Cross-eyed. I'm not.
That happens to Armando too.
My eyes don't go cross-eyed. only after too much rum.
Yeah. He's more patient than I am, and there's like that back end stuff. I just want to grab my computer and like throw it. It's like I'm done. Like I want it now. And like let's go. That back end stuff.
It's the best. It's the best when I get the call and I can hear the frustration. I'm like, oh, okay, let me take care of this.
Yeah.
Take care of this real quick.
Yeah. And then Jake handles...
I'm excited for you guys.
And then Jake handles all the business end, like the money, a lot of the sales stuff, getting set up with dealers and accounts like that. And... yeah, we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, Jake is big into rum too, I think.
No, whiskey. He's a whiskey dude.
Whiskey guy.
I'm a rum guy.
Oh God.
Well, not just rum. It's there's only one.
It's just Kraken.
Rum. It's Kraken. It's black spice rum.
Was it the first Moab or the second one where Jake was pretty much blackout drunk, and then Clanton poked his nuts out of his those tight jeans?
Oh, that was the first one.
I think they were your cutoffs, Will.
No, the first one is wearing Will's pants.
Yeah.
What's funny is that's
Your
not the first time
jorts.
we've seen his nuts. Like that's like probably like
It's like the fifth time.
yeah,
It feels like the fifth time to that
yeah,
point. And it's probably been 10 times since.
yeah,
See, that's what happens when bodybuilders start shaving stuff. They
yeah.
all the shaved parts.
Like,
I think the first time was in Kentucky.
yeah, we were playing cornhole, and he'd like just
We played
drop
cornhole in
out,
Kentucky.
It was just
Yeah,
pop them out.
Yeah.
pull the shorts
just,
up. And
just like
Oh my-
pull the shorts out and drop him into the cornhole hole.
we were about to win, and he didn't
So
want us to win, so he's like, put the nuts.
He
Yeah,
teabagged the cornhole hole. Oh my god! I hope you got video of that because Mob Moab, his ball incident in Mob Moab was live.
It was live, and
Yeah.
Diesel was live, or Jake was live.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I think it was about 20 minutes after that, JP wanted to leave, and all of a sudden you see Jake just start opening a brand new bottle of whiskey, and he's like, "What are you gonna do with that? You're already fucking drunk." Like, yeah, one more.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah.
Speaking of drinking, I just saw on my my Facebook memories yesterday that it's been since my last drink was
Dang,
in
that's awesome,
2017.
man.
Dang.
I've stopped drinking a few times, and then I don't know, the rum. It's just that's the only thing I drink. I don't drink anything else. Like I don't drink whiskey, I don't drink beer, but like rum and Coke, Kraken and Coke is like it's like if I know that's there, it's like crap. I want it.
I used to drink everything, Hennessy, different assortments of vodka. I never drank. I stopped drinking tequila after one time I got blackout drunk. I won't tell the story about that because I found out my mom listens to the show. So I'll just say that I missed the car show that I was supposed to be at the next day, and I woke up next to a bunch of naked people, and I don't remember how I got there.
Do you know who the naked people were?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never.
Yes.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm sure it was a good time. I just don't remember the good time. I don't remember the full details of who I had the good times with. I mean, there were some spots where I remember things, but yeah, tequila, I stopped drinking that shit a long time ago.
Yeah, I can't even smell it. I can't even smell it.
No.
Like someone had it and I smelled it and was like,
Yes.
"Mm."
I can't.
That and Fireball. I can't smell Fireball either.
I can smell Fireball. I just can't drink it.
It smells like a Christmas nightmare.
It's like it smells like those pine cones when in front of Christmas, and like at Christmas time, they're in those little bags in front of the store, and I walk by, I'm like, "What's that stench?"
It's like over potpourri.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I don't touch that stuff.
Man, I used to love to drink, but I didn't stop because I was ultra violent or anything like that. It was more of a health thing. I went on a diet a long time ago, lost 100 pounds, and part of it was I stopped drinking. I figured, stopping drinking is going to help lose the weight, and it did. And then my goal at the end of that was to run a 10K marathon. And so I did that, and just so happens that Michelob was sponsoring the marathon, and they had free beer for all the runners after the marathon. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to have a beer. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to get a buzz right away because I haven't had a drink in a long time. Cracked open the beer, took a drink, and I was like, this tastes like
right? Yeah.
shit. I mean, it's a Michelob for one thing, but after not having any liquor or beer or anything for such a long time, taking a drink and then realizing alcohol really doesn't taste good. I was just like, you know what? Maybe I don't need this after all. And then I did get drunk 2 more times after that. And my insides were hurting. And I couldn't have found out that I developed allergy to alcohol.
And it's nuts. It's really not good.
Yeah.
Like alcohol's really not good for you. Any alcohol. Like it's just not, it's a poison that at the end of the day, you're drinking poison. It's fun to drink sometimes, but you feel way better when you don't drink the stuff. Even when it's like you're not getting drunk, you just have a drink, and the next day it's like, oh, I can feel the effects of that.
Yeah. Don't know why I started drinking. I think it was just to kind of fit in and be with the cool kids type situation. And then it kind of morphed into I like being drunk. And I hated drinking, but I loved being drunk. So I would just pound beers so quick so I can hurry up and get to that drunk level. Same thing with vodka or anything else. It just I would rapidly drink because I didn't like the taste. And I would rapidly drink so that way I can hurry up and get drunk. And I think that's how some of the fights started that I got into.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, all that money gone.
Yeah, that's
for,
the other thing.
for
It's not cheap either. Like, but yeah, my weakness is the Mexican Coke and the Kraken rum.
Dude, Mexican Coke, Mexican Fanta.
Because
Why
it's
is it
made
so
with real
good?
cane sugar, not all the. Like, if you look at the labels, there's so much shit in the American Coke that is not legal in Mexico, like for the Mexican Coke.
And it's $5 a bottle for Mexican
Damn.
Coke out here in Tennessee. Just so you know. Yeah. Well, rounding up, it's $4.29.
I need to start doing runs from here to there and reselling it.
A little Smokey and the
Yeah.
Bandit.
I'm smuggling Mexican Coke from Utah to Tennessee. Like, that's
Stop at the Choke and Puke and fill up. And
God, because I
the
could
road.
buy it at Costco here, where it's like $32 for 24-pack. Come there, turn around, sell it, making some dough.
You know what? And here's what we do, because I know ever since I found out that you like to bow hunt, it's been in my mind. You come out, you stay with me for a weekend. I got an extra room, and bring your kit. We'll bring Coke and all that too, but we'll kill some deer just outside my door because there's plenty of them. In exchange for some deer meat,
all right, that works. I'll bring some Coke. Yeah.
When was the last time you actually hunted?
Yeah, when
5
I left
years ago.
Last year I left. Last year I lived in Arizona. Was the last year I hunted, because I haven't. When I moved up here, I didn't. I just worked like all the time, and then it's hard to find hunting areas in a new place. And then I went through a divorce, and then I don't know. Jenna's brother's a huge hunter, and he wants me to come hunt Idaho this year, next year, and I'll probably jump back into it.
I heard there's a lot of game out there.
There is.
That readily available.
Yeah, and so I'm probably next year I'll probably get a bow after, because right now I'm just with Elevated and Savvy. It's just like 24/7 work, trying to get everything done and going, and cranking out new products. But I wouldn't trade it. Like, I met a guy at the outdoor retailer, and he's talking about like phases of companies and how certain companies will go through different phases. And he was saying that like companies will reach phases and they'll either be sold off or this or that. But he's like, his company mottos, and I love this, was work with people we like, do what we love, and make money, and never out of that order. He said once you start mixing, he's like, that's when it fails. Like, so the second you put like money first, like it's all about bottom line. He's like, that's one thing that causes it to fail. When you start doing what you don't love, he's like, you just have to stick with that. And this isn't like a small dude. Like he worked for Easton. He bought Remington out of bankruptcy and bought them back after they filed bankruptcy. He's brought a few companies back after they've been sold off to investment groups. Investment groups bankrupt them, and then he'll buy them back out of bankruptcy and build them back, and either sell. Like a lot of times, he's sold them back to he's sold two companies back to the employees. Yeah.
Wow. So that's a guy that's just looking to make a little, give a little, and spread the wealth.
And and live life, and and that's a good, like, I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's what I'm doing now, working with people I like, doing what I love, and making money.
Mm-hmm. And it helps that you have someone that's familiar with the business, and all the aspects, and it helps that you've been in the business for a while too.
Yeah.
A lot of advantages. I don't see how it fails. I think you guys are gonna. I mean, it's a strong name. It's a strong product. You guys all have the determination, so I just see it thriving.
Yeah, the few frustrations is some things. It's a little bit different than how I've done stuff in the past, but it's like some things take a little bit longer, which is a frustration. But overall, it's good. Everything's been good. Like, I've loved every day of it. It's just learning curve, right? Like, there's some things that I've had to learn and grow and fix, and it's fixing. Yeah, and like I said earlier, I'm impatient, so it's like, let's go, and it's like, hey, I need to slow down and make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and
I think there's a process in learning that sort of thing, because I mean, no one is ever born with that knowledge. You can't really learn from your mistakes unless you make mistakes.
And
I mean, it's great. It's great if someone never makes a mistake and they're very successful at never making a mistake, and that's awesome and fortunate for them. But those are just the outliers.
That's rare. And like, I don't know if I could ever be like, without failure, you don't really truly learn, or without hiccups, you don't learn. And you have to learn to be stronger. You can't just.
Did you ever hear the story about the second edit of American Crawlers that I had to do? Did you ever hear that, Armando?
No. You had to do another, like, you had to do a first edit and then a second edit.
So here's what happened. I don't think I told many people about this. I was about 3/4 of the way done with editing the movie and storylining it, storyboarding and everything. And I had saved the file, went to bed, woke up the next morning, opened the file to start working on it, and it said it was corrupt. It wouldn't open. The past saves were also corrupt for some reason. I called the tech support and for Adobe and told them the situation, and they're trying to fix it. They're trying to walk me through troubleshooting and everything. So that took about a week and a half, and I finally said, you know what, I don't have time. I'm just gonna fucking start over. So I started over, and I'm actually glad I did, because there was a lot of things in it that I wanted to change, and I wasn't sure how I was going to change it without affecting stuff down the timeline. So in hindsight, it was a good thing. But at the time, it was so stressful.
It's brutal to go through that.
And what I actually learned was Adobe still has an issue, I think, that if you're working on a project and they have an update, you should not update the program if you're in the middle of a project.
Chandler's just text.
What's he saying?
Can I still get in? I won't get in here. We could take for a couple minutes at least.
Yeah, why not? So Chambliss is the owner of Elevated Offroad, what would you say, Will? Co-founder,
partner,
producer,
Elevated Experience,
co-partner. Yeah. So he was supposed to join us, but has a sick daughter. Sounds like he might be coming on last minute. Hopefully, we'll see. If not, it's all right. It'd be nice to talk to Chambliss. I haven't talked to him in a while. Last time I talked to him, actually, I took my truck to him to get a quote to get some work done on it, and I ended up buying a fence for my house instead.
That's a good purchase.
Yeah, and then I actually just had a sod installed, which is another $4,000 fucking dollars down the drain. But it's worth it because it was all dirt before, and I have a dog and didn't want the dog to track in mud, so had to put grass.
Well, here, this will make you feel better about your purchase. So if those two gears and that rack don't, if it goes back together and it doesn't work, it's not going to work. So I have to buy a whole new rack, which is like $2,400, just to pull out that pinion and that computer so it stays synced, so I can put it back in. Yeah.
So next time you do it, just don't do it. Just take it somewhere.
It's just do it with somebody. Like here's what I learned. Don't be on the phone with your brother-in-law. Have an extra set of hands. Don't do it yourself. Like, yeah, I did
mistakes.
Yeah, with my 6-year-old asking me a bunch of stuff while I'm on the phone, while I'm pulling apart the rack. Yeah. It's yeah.
It's. Do you find it odd that so many people that were so heavily into Jeeps are now getting out of Jeeps?
No, I think
do you think people are just become disenchanted with the whole thing because of the ducking and all of the people that are just posturing that they're wheelers and all they're doing is buying stuff to look cool?
Think a lot of people, the industry's changing. I think a lot of people are not wanting to necessarily be that hardcore, or it's just like there's a lot of people that do it for the gram, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shocked.
I do a lot of things for a gram.
Yeah. Like win a bet to cross a river on an e-bike.
We can't give away the whole video.
Oh my God. You're gonna have to tell me the story when we're done here.
No, it's just if you follow Jose had that little yellow e-bike. It's basically it's a 16 or 20 inch bike. It's basically a kid's bike. It's tiny. There's no pedals, and it's just throttle and go. So it made an appearance a few times during the week, and one of the times was we were camped alongside of a river, and I think we were all betting Jose to do it, and then Will's like, "I'll just do it," and Will got in and just decided to go for it.
Yeah, I think someone had said like, "Oh, I bet you can't ride the bike across the river," and I'm like, "Oh, I bet you I can," and I did. Yeah,
the water.
I crossed 2 rivers that week, both over bets.
How deep was the water?
The bike one, not that deep. Maybe like 2 feet at the deep. Like
it might have been, at the deep side. It might have been, 2 feet max.
I'm in my waist, so maybe a little bit deeper than 2 feet at the one part where So the bet was that I couldn't make it across. I made it across. I did not make it back. I fell off and fell in the water. Like.
Was it still warmer than what you?
Oh yeah,
into,
like
Como?
The water there was surprisingly warm. Like it wasn't cold, like it's chilly, but it wasn't ice cold. No, it didn't shock you. It's actually, I was kind of refreshed when I fell in, and then the second.
You got in the morning and went back in.
Yeah, I got back in, and then we were outside. We were in Leavenworth. And the bet was I couldn't cross the river without my nipples touching the water. Like, and I don't even think this is on video, so we're not ruining it. It's just cell phone pictures and stuff. But the bet was I couldn't cross the huge river in Leavenworth without my nipples. And I would have made it, but it's a wide river. I start walking and I'm barefoot and my feet, like the rocks, they look smooth, but when you're like halfway across the river, it's like walking on hot coals. You're like, oh my gosh, my feet are killing me. And they're slick too, so you're slipping and sliding into the like gravelish hard sand below. And I got across and it was like kind of right below my nipples. And I'm like, oh man, and I'm going slow because my feet are killing me. And I take one step and I slip and I fell in the water like up to my neck. And I was like, dang it, lost the bet. And I get across. And I'm like, shit, now I got to back across. And I was standing on the bank and this lady who watched me come across. And she's like, hey, it's a lot shallower if you go like up the bank a little bit. So I like walk up the bank and then recross, and it, I should have scoped out the river crossing before I went across. I could win that bet too, but didn't happen. Next time. Next river. There's a lot of water stuff this.
So do you think?
Year.
Back to the loss of interest in Jeeps and stuff. Do you think that ever makes a recovery?
I think so. Like 2 of our daughters love Jeeps and want to build some Jeeps to go for wheeling. So I don't think it's lost. It's just
different.
Yeah, it's different.
It's definitely different. And I think we've seen this shift coming. When the JL came, remember, even at Artec, our philosophy changed when the JL was coming out, because we had been pursuing products for the hardcore side. And we had the pending JL. The JL release was coming, and we were sitting there waiting. Okay, it's going to come. We got to jump on it. We got to jump on it. And we were in a meeting, and it was just like, okay, it's going to be the kindler, gentler Artec. And we're going to create products that are more bolt-on, that are going to be able to be sold to dealerships. So instead of catering to the 2% of the builders, we wanted to cater to 100%. So, and I think a lot more companies have changed that. So not just having complete hardcore products, they're creating products for every Jeeper. So that changes who you're bringing in as customers, who's out on trails, who's really pushing product marketing, design, and engineering a lot.
So it sounds like it's almost a chicken or the egg situation.
A lot of it is.
Because I mean, you can't have a product without the demand, and you can't have the demand without the people saying that they want that. But who was the one to say, you need to have these 4 12-inch speakers cabinets in the back of your Jeep, or you need to have this roof rack, even though you're not going to utilize it for its intended purpose?
Well,
there's some things that have intended use for like camping, and then there's what I call the Honda Civic crowd.
Mm-hmm. They're just putting on the emblems from the Pep Boys.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's similar to the old guy with the truck with the mud flaps with the girl.
Or the diamond plate,
diamond plate sticky all everywhere. It's a lot of that is that where it's building for people's budget and their use instead of going full hardcore. Just think about what I call the Jeep heyday is the Poison Spider era, where Larry brought Poison Spider out, and that was like, it was just ridiculous how that blew up and that changed the industry and how people looked at the Jeep side. And that's probably where all of us kind of came into this. It was in that era. Yeah. And see that happen, and then that change, and then it even at the end, Poison Spotty was not just doing BFH bumpers; they had
a lot of
little
stuff.
trinkets
Yeah,
and smaller things, a lot of smaller things, and tramp stamps and all that type of stuff. So it's just it's the shift in what people want and people are doing. But you probably even go further back and go in 2007 when the JK came out in a 4-door, that changed what the Jeep was considerably.
the other thing
True.
I think that's changed over the last couple of years is how expensive Jeep has become. It's like
Yeah.
would you rather spend what you spend on your Tacoma or spend that on a Jeep? Your Tacoma is a lot more refined, nicer, and it's
Better
better
resale
resale value. Like I ordered a 24 392, and they called and told me what the MSRP was going to be, and I'm like, no freaking way. Like I'm not. It's $95,000 MSRP, and I'm like, there's no way. Like why?
That's crazy.
Why?
At that point, you lose the
Yes.
regular consumer, and you're targeting an upper, 10% of the consumer base.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the models are doing now. I mean the 4XC is $70,000. A diesel, you're 75-80, and then you go to 392, you're 90 to $100,000, depending on what you do in the build. And that's just
So
off the show floor.
Who do we blame for the high prices, Scott or Biden?
It's Scott. 100% fucking Scott.
Yeah.
Always blame Scott.
Always blame Scott. When in doubt, blame Scott.
Yeah, it's a tough one because it's not just Jeep though; it's Bronco too. Like the base,
but it's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything. I mean, look at a truck.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a Raptor R that's MSRP of 120.
110, 112 to 119, somewhere in there.
The 119 for a 1,500 truck.
Yeah.
Not a 3,500, not a 5,500, not a cab and chassis freaking diesel truck that you're going to make money on. It's a truck for you to go play with and drive every day.
Vehicle.
And it's all pleasure. And it's 110, 120 grand.
See, even my wife and I, we want another vehicle that we can kind of like, have a weekend cruiser type thing. And we were thinking about a newer car that is fun to drive, like something like Supra or something, something sporty, something fast.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you look at everything about it, you're over 100 for the same type of car, speed, and all that, and fun. You can go into your old classic cars and get a resto mod for $80,000 cheaper.
Yeah, even those are not even cheap anymore.
No. I mean, the C10s are so popular.
It's ridiculous. They were 150 plus. Well, the cheap redos, or just like thrown together, were like 80 grand at Bear Jackson, and then 150 plus for the ones that were like really done nice.
The other crazy thing too is all these new cars aren't built like they used to be. Like it's a lot of it's just shit. Like on the inside, it's
the outside.
You're paying this much, and it's like they build them like shit. Still, all of them. It's not just one. It's like across the board.
It's everything. Yeah. Paint's terrible. My Ram the paint's terrible, and people complain about it all the time. So I'm afraid I'm going to buff this out and go through the clear coat.
Well, look at GM. They're talking about removing Apple CarPlay and Android CarPlay and all that stuff from their cars going forward, and that just makes no sense to me. I mean, as it is, you don't have CD player slots in cars anymore, and you don't have the auxiliary port in the front anymore of the head units. So I don't know what their plan is. I mean, it seems a little bit counterproductive to do that, but hey, I'm not a GM CEO or anything else like that. I'm just a guy that lives in Shelbyville, fucking Tennessee.
I don't know. Some of those guys that make those decisions, it's like, wow.
There's a lot of decisions being made these days that just make you slap your forehead and ask why.
What's the reasoning? Like, what's the logic? Yeah, there is none.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with appeasing
working for that money. That they put the money out of order, right? It's like, let's please the shareholders.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
It's all it's about.
Yeah.
In fact, I actually got an email from work not long ago about a fireside chat with our CEO of the company. And there was a follow-up email that had the transcript of the chat. And the headline was making the shareholders happy. There was no mention about making the employees happy or anything.
Yeah. Employees don't matter.
Or making the best product, or making customer service the best, or it's we got, know. Yeah.
Everything's changing right now, and it's kind of falling apart while people think it's improving, and I don't see any improvement. It's a step backward to take 2 steps forward type thing, and I see 5 steps back and no steps forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, it's been the last year's kind of, I've gone out and experienced a lot of different stuff this past year, like going to Outdoor Retailer, and it's crazy to see some of the stuff that's happening and decisions you hear about companies making and why they're doing it, and stuff like, wow. Like,
I mean, they just had to pass something to take away the wokeness from the military.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how fucked up shit is.
Yeah. And you get huge corporations that are like, oh, we got to do this. It's like, in what world is that good? But they make it, and it's like, I got to watch 2 companies make some decisions. And then it's like, they come back from it and they're like, oh, we internally, it's like, oh, we fucked up. We're going back to what we should have done. But it's like, why would you?
Yeah, everything's backwards right now. Even Jason Aldean is catching it with his new song. What's it called? Don't do that come do that in a small town. They're saying it's racist, and I'm like, okay, I doubt it's racist, so I'm going to listen to this. I did not hear one racist thing in that song at all. All he's saying is, you know what? Stop with the bullshit. You think you're tough doing it in a big city where big cities are faltering because of democratic law? Come to the small town where it's a Republican rule.
Yeah.
Come to the small town where people are sick of your bullshit and see what happens. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. Yeah. Because everyone's sick and tired of your bullshit.
It's nuts. Like, even where we were this past week, like Portland and some of the other stories we've heard of, like Walmart pulling out Portland, right? And they're like, oh, good, get out of here, right? But then REI is like, we're leaving too because everybody's stealing our shit because it's legal. And what's some of the crazy laws in Oregon, I had to shake my head at, because it's like, it's legal to do meth or crack in the parking lot, but you can't walk out of the store with a beer. Like, how is this? Let me get this straight. I can cross this imaginary line with a beer and I can get in trouble because it's after a certain time. But a guy can sit there and do meth or crack and it's 100% legal. Like, where's the logic behind that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
California, you shit in the street.
Shit in the street in California.
I think we were born in the wrong time. We should have been born in like the 40s and 30s and shit. That way we didn't have to experience this bullshit.
But you know what's funny though? So we're just in Oregon and Washington this week, and we weren't near the coast. You guys went to the coast after, but where I went to Bend to meet you guys, going up to Yakima, and we didn't really do too much in Yakima, and then going to all these little towns in central to eastern Oregon and Washington. It's a different mentality than you get in these big cities, and it's a big state, and you have these cities that have all the population that are ruining the state.
Yeah, except for people in Yakima are pretty racist. They're accusing Jose of stealing shit out of the store. He didn't even have anything. Just because he was Mexican.
Well, he
doesn't even look that
probably
Mexican.
had it in, he probably had it in his he's a fucking Mexican. Brown people steal shit.
That's racist right there.
It's not racist if it's true.
Yeah, you can't be racist if it's true.
I saw a picture that you guys strapped into the back of a truck as he was filming. I was like, oh, I know how that feels to just be strapped to something and start, someone put a camera in your hand and you need to go. And I'm watching that little video. I think it was on Instagram. I saw it. And I'm just thinking to myself, this poor fucker's going to get dusted the fuck out.
Well, luckily we sent everyone up front.
Yeah.
And he was in the back. But the worst part about that is he's under that rooftop tent, and I'm looking at there's 3 inches above his head. Yeah. As soon as they hit the bump, go,
it's a bump.
Boom,
yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then all he's doing is he's got this what is that, $30,000 camera that all he's doing is putting his life in front of this camera.
And the only thing that's holding him in is
the motorcycle strap.
It
wasn't even a ratchet.
It wasn't a ratchet.
It wasn't even a ratchet. Yeah. It was a pull. It was a pull strap. It was just
oh my god.
It was just a turnbuckle strap. Yeah.
I mean, the weight rating is correct. We checked that. I need to do a reel on that, but I have a video. It's like, Jose, how much you weigh? And then I showed the tag. It's like, a strap's rated 200 pounds. It's like, all right, you're good. It'll catch you.
Yeah.
It won't break.
That's awesome. It wouldn't have worked for me then.
I had bigger straps.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting a diet. My goal is to drop about 40 pounds by December. I figured I've put on a lot of weight since COVID. I used to be 205 and I'm probably 260 now. So it's time to shed that COVID weight finally, especially if I'm going to start filming again next year. I can't be carrying this weight around that much and with a camera and running up mountains and shit. It's just too much on my knees and ankles.
Yeah, I had to lose some weight this year, and I've got I don't know, probably about 6 to 8 more pounds to go.
Mm-hmm.
No comment.
No comment.
I had a plan, and I was working really well until I don't know what happened, and I was down like 10 pounds, and then I don't know what happened. Life happened.
You know what doesn't help is watching these cooking shows on Netflix and HGTV and all that shit. I love watching cooking shows, and they're making brisket, and I'm like, oh my god,
I want that.
Just start watching vegetarian cooking shows. You'll never want to eat that shit.
I'm having a hard time with vegetables right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Watch vegetarian.
A very hard
watch
time.
Vegetarian cooking shows. You're never going to eat that shit.
I think I might have gotten COVID because I don't like vegetables anymore. I didn't know I had COVID. I used to think vegetables were decent. I can eat vegetables, and now put some extra salt and butter on it, please.
Yeah.
Counterproductive. All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up here. I don't think Chambliss is going to join.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't see him coming in.
Yeah, and it's about the same dinner time as everyone else right now. So he's got a sick kid, and it's probably dinner time over there. So
yeah,
we'll catch him another time.
Yeah, we'll get him next time.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Well, Will, thanks for coming on. Thanks for breaking down the trip and talking Savvy.
Yeah,
and
Savvy's
everything else.
going. Check it out. It's savvydesigns.com. And then also Elevated next year's doing Alaska in September. Yeah.
What?
The first week of September of 2024, Elevated is going to Alaska.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Who's driving, though? That's what I want to know.
So
who's driving from
We're not
states?
driving. We're taking the fit. So the way we're doing it to cut down time is you get to Seattle, you take the ferry from Seattle to Alaska, do the trip, hop back on the ferry, get back to Seattle. So you cut out all that drive time through Canada. So it's like, so from what we've researched and talked to a few people, there's a ferry where you can hop on at like in the evening, get on it. When you're on it, you stay the night. By the time you wake up, you're in Alaska. Or like somewhere in the next mid-morning. You hop off the ferry, and then you're like, boom, driving, doing the trip, and then we'll get back, hop on the ferry, and come back.
That saves you like
shit
what,
on
2 or
each
3
way,
days?
yeah. Yeah, because that drive through Canada is brutal. It's a long drive. So that would be hard for a lot of people. So we're cutting that out, doing the ferry, doing Alaska, coming back, and it cuts out a lot of that drive time.
It'll save whatever that ferry cost is going to save probably twice as much as gas.
Ferries, when we looked, it's like $220 for the trip there, and then
that's nothing.
Yeah, we're looking to it, and like you can do like room upgrades and stuff like that, but it cuts out a lot of that drive time. But yeah, Alaska 2024.
Well, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty crazy.
Well, if you need an extra camera guy
we will.
Let me know. Because I've never been to Alaska, and that sounds like fun.
I'm excited. I haven't been to Alaska either, and
I heard the mosquitoes are out of control.
Yeah, one of the reasons we chose September is because by then the river crossings are a lot lower because you're rolling into fall, and by then not all the bugs have died, but a lot of the bugs, like the busy season of bugs, has died down.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working with the tourism board and some other people, and it's like from the sound of it, first week of September is like a money week and good to go. Yeah.
Nice. Well, good luck planning that, and again, I'm available. Armando, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Missed you.
Diesel did a good job. Thank you, Diesel, for filling in for me. So, cool.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Have a good one.